It's the highlight of the year for diabetes professionals around the world, providing the very latest cutting-edge advances in diabetes research, prevention, and care. This is the 81st American Diabetes Association Scientific Sessions, and you're watching ADA TV. Welcome back one last time to the ADA Virtual Studio. We've got one final show for you with some of the most exciting research into diabetes from around the world, from the latest in regenerative tissues to new biomarkers for identifying NASH.
I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have the care and concern from the people at the VA. They've changed my life for the better because I'm here to watch my family grow.
We'll also speak to ADA CEO Tracey Brown to find out the very latest news about the American Diabetes Association.
Let's not lose the sense of urgency to drive what we need to drive for people living with diabetes.
Remember to watch us on the meeting platform, on the ADA website, and on YouTube and Twitter. Now though, back to Dr. Dana Dabalea for one last message from the Scientific Sessions Meeting Planning Committee Chair.
Hello again. It is the very last day, actually only half a day, of our 81st ADA Scientific Sessions. However, given its virtual format, you don't have to worry about missing your flight, and you can fully enjoy the sessions we have planned for today. And you are in for a treat. We start the day with the much anticipated results from the SURPASS clinical trials, all focusing on tirzepatide, a novel dual GIP/GLP-1 receptor agonist. Presentations will discuss efficacy and safety of tirzepatide compared to placebo, but also compared to other incretin-based therapies with or without insulin or metformin. And we'll end with a live discussion with questions and answers that you don't want to miss. Immediately following at 10:15 is another much anticipated symposium providing an update on SCORED and SOLOIST cardiovascular and kidney outcomes trials, including new main results, meta-analysis, and an independent commentary. I really hope that you enjoyed all the sessions carefully planned by our Scientific Planning Committee. All the lectures and presentations have been recorded and will be available online through September 29. So you can go back and listen more carefully or watch something that you have missed during these 5 packed days. I am looking forward to seeing you all, hopefully in person, next year at the 82nd ADA Scientific Sessions, June 3rd through 7 in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Today we've got a range of exciting features for you. Let's start off by looking at diabetic complications and the organizations working to help diabetes patients. The VHA Innovation Ecosystem is working to end diabetic limb loss among veterans.
The VA is the largest integrated healthcare system in the country. We serve over 9 million veterans, 52,000 patients with diabetic foot ulcers that we treat every year. Through the programs that we have developed, we have an operational infrastructure for innovation that spans across the entire enterprise.
We have to have a robust ecosystem, which requires us to partner with folks in the private sector.
We have 39 medical centers where we have innovation directors and innovation programming, where we leverage the insight and the feedback of veterans and their providers in designing and developing new solutions to improve care. Podometrics developed a solution to this problem. I wanted to explore further what that would mean for veterans in the VA.
Podometrics has developed a virtual care support system for the prevention of diabetic amputations. An FDA-cleared smart mat that users just steps on for 20 seconds a day in the comfort of their own home. And if we see any signs of developing wounds or problems in the foot, we can begin care earlier, so it's simple preventative care as opposed to more extensive treatment care.
With more on diabetes complications, let's look at some new treatments for diabetes-related eye issues with Aerie Pharmaceuticals.
Diabetic eye disease is very complex and it requires multiple different ways to treat it. The beauty of small molecule chemistry and our ability to bring small molecules to the back of the eye is that small molecules address a wider range of potential drug targets than the current modalities that are being used. And in this way, we really believe we can develop entirely new treatments for diabetic eye disease that can either improve patient outcomes as a standalone therapy or be used with current therapies to better preserve vision.
I think the hope that we bring to the patient is more freedom in their overall life. Not having to go to the doctor so often to get treatment. Not having an invasive treatment where they're afraid to go in. Having confidence in something that's going to help them see better. And if we can see better, that really helps our quality of life. The group of people that we have is what makes us strong. It allows us to transform who we are into what we do, into the patient.
The Scientific Sessions Meeting Planning Committee is responsible for developing challenging and exciting program content that reaches across diverse disciplines to teach lessons of relevance to diabetes. Thank you to this year's Scientific Sessions Meeting Planning Committee. Now to a company helping diabetes patients with the very latest in regenerative skin and biomaterials. Working with some of the very best skin graft doctors around the world, it's PolarityTE.
This is a really exciting time. I think we're starting to see maybe some light at the end of the therapeutic tunnel.
There are a lot of people struggling from deep diabetic foot ulcers that needed a simple solution.
Working in skin tissue engineering is something new and innovative. And skin is such a complex organ that it's hard to capture everything that you can within this. And we try our very best to accomplish that.
We're taking healthy patient skin, and inclusive of that is all these, endogenous natural stem cell populations and other cellular populations that are part of our normal wound healing. And we're able to leverage those to be able to treat a complex wound or large wound that otherwise wouldn't close by itself.
One of the most exciting things about the future is we're just at the beginning. We're just getting the data together. We're seeing the interest building. That's what I'm most proud of.
Let's head to Digital Diagnostics now, a company providing a new kind of diagnostic system aimed at diabetic retinopathy and diabetic macular edema.
The diabetic retinopathy epidemic is the primary cause of blindness in the US. The sad thing is, it's almost entirely preventable if we catch it early. People with early diabetic retinopathy do not have symptoms, but that's the time we need to catch them so we can prevent visual loss and blindness. NeurMedix is a company that creates AI done the right way. We make autonomous AIs for the diagnosis and ultimately treatment of diseases in different parts of the body to lower the cost of healthcare, improve the quality and improve access for patients. From a clinical perspective, we developed IDXDR making sure that it fits the clinical workflow but also the standards of care for diabetic retinopathy.
I really feel that in general the use of autonomous AI for medical applications and diagnosis will be a very good thing for the healthcare system.
The more you participate, the more you could win. You'll receive points for each area you visit on the site. So, the more active you are, the more points you'll earn. The attendee who earns the most points will receive complimentary meeting registration to next year's meeting. With more on diagnostics, let's take a look at GENFIT. They've developed a new range of biomarkers for identifying patients with NASH.
In patients with type 2 diabetes, around 2/3 will have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but in addition, the progression to non-alcoholic steatohepatitis is more common.
to identify NASH, you have to do a liver biopsy. So we really need to begin to find tools to diagnose at-risk NASH.
This is what prompted our R&D effort, which eventually led to the development of the technology that we call NIS4.
LabCorp's drug development group worked very closely with the scientists at GENFIT to develop and validate the biomarkers that went into the final NIS4 technology, which makes up the NASH Next test.
It has been exciting to see the field really embrace non-invasive diagnostics so that we can get beyond the biopsy and diagnose NASH patients without such a risky, invasive, and painful procedure.
To Medtronic now, they're providing a wide range of solutions to help people meet their individualized diabetes goals, from CGM to a smart insulin pen.
People with diabetes have a heavy burden in having to deal with their diabetes, particularly those who have type 1 diabetes, where everything that they do affects their blood sugar level. Medtronic has really evolved over the last 3 decades in now being able to provide a multiplicity of choices for patients. This is extended to the smart insulin pen for patients with both type 1 and type 2 diabetes who choose not to use an insulin pump, which automatically records the time of the insulin dose, the amount of the insulin dose, and communicates with an app on a smartphone that allows them to accurately determine what dose of insulin they would be injecting. Another set of options is just a standalone continuous glucose monitor that is very useful in helping patients understand what happens to their blood sugar when they eat, when they exercise, when they're under stress. The final option would be an insulin pump, and an insulin pump can be a standalone pump without a continuous glucose monitor. It can be with a glucose monitor, and the two are connected by an algorithm that helps the pump automatically deliver insulin according to the need. People change and their lifestyles change. The ability of not only to achieve the best glycemic control, but to do so in a way that is less of a burden for a patient is really the goal for Medtronic.
Coming up soon, our interview with ADA CEO Tracey Brown. But first, a broader look at the impact of diabetes research. NeurMedix have taken what they've learned from the inflammation mechanisms behind insulin resistance and applied it to a new Alzheimer's therapy.
Both diabetes and Alzheimer's disease are epidemic and rapidly increasing.
We need something that arrests the disease early in the disease so that people can maintain their independence.
We are trying to stop the inflammation that drives neurodegeneration and other serious diseases. In 2006, we developed an anti-inflammatory insulin sensitizer for type 2 diabetics. A decade later, we began to pursue the links between inflammation, insulin resistance, and Alzheimer's disease. We know that NE3107 has been able to inhibit the pro-inflammatory kinases that phosphorylate and inhibit insulin action, as well as decreasing inflammation in the macrophages and microglia that lead to chronic inflammation and neurodegeneration in Alzheimer's disease. We are challenged by understanding what this drug wouldn't be able to do in terms of chronic diseases. The sky is the limit right now.
Visit adameetingnews.org, the meeting's official online news source, to make sure you don't miss any of the groundbreaking science at the virtual 81st Scientific Sessions. Check back for hourly updates at adameetingnews.org or via the Meeting News button in the Scientific Sessions app. I'm now delighted to be joined by ADA CEO Tracey Brown. Tracey, thanks so much for being here. We're coming to the end of the 81st Scientific Sessions. Let's look beyond the meeting. How has the ADA helped get patients as well as clinicians through a very challenging year? And what's left to do before we're out of the woods?
First, I'd just like to say the 81st Scientific Sessions has been phenomenal. And I want to give a quick thank you to the team behind all of this and everyone who participated. I mean, COVID-19, as we heard and have been living, has been devastating. We still have a great amount of work to do as it relates to the research and the linkage between COVID-19 and diabetes. Diabetes was an epidemic in this country well before the COVID-19 pandemic. We are going to continue to advocate. We are going to be focusing on food and nutrition, insulin affordability, and continuing to advocate around research and innovation.
What about the future of diabetes care? How is the ADA pushing for better health equity?
Better health equity, again, is going to come through our Health Equity Now platform. The American Diabetes Association is going to continue to lean in and lean in hard. We've got to take down these barriers. We have a health equity bill of rights, 10 bill of rights that people living with diabetes, and quite frankly, all Americans should have access to. We're going to continue to lean into that.
Any final messages for Scientific Sessions attendees as they head back out into the real world after the virtual meeting?
Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for how you're contributing. And now we must continue to drive action. You know, the country's opening back up. Let's not lose the sense of urgency, the speed in which we have been moving to drive what we need to drive for people living with diabetes.
Thanks so much, Tracey, and good luck for the coming year. Well, that's all from us here at ADA TV for another fantastic year of the ADA Scientific Sessions, bringing you the very latest cutting-edge advances in diabetes research, prevention, and care. If you've watched all of our content, congratulations. But in case you missed anything, you'll continue to find us on the meeting platform, on the ADA website, and on YouTube and Twitter. And remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Everything featured on the show can be found in its full-length version within the ADA TV playlist. Make sure to take a look and find what interests you most. Until then, and next year, and a return to a face-to-face meeting, good luck in all your work, and goodbye.